All right, Panther fans. Good morning, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? So, yesterday, last night, I did about a 45-minute stream of consciousness video where I talked about some of the things that I thought were wrong with the Panthers. And this morning, I woke up tagged to a couple of things on Twitter that depressing, distressing, disappointing, all of the D's. Just not good. And I'm going to preface this by saying these are, other people's opinions, but keep in mind, as Florida Panther fans, if we're giving our opinion on Huberdeau or Dennis Malgin or Gabranson, right? If we're giving our opinion on players or coaches that have been here before for any length of time, we consider ourselves expert-ish. At least we know what we can tell other teams what they're going to get. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring up a couple of. We've got an article, and then something reply from a Jets fan on Reddit. So let's find it here. All right. So this first article, I was tagged by Chris. I'm going to leave both of the people who I'm reading their tweets and had tagged me. I'm going to leave their tags information in the description of this video. So what he says is this article is written about Paul Maurice in 2011 from when he had coached the Canes. Seemed like it could have been written yesterday about the Panthers. So I'm just going to read it. All right. I'm not sure where the article originated, but let's just go. When Maurice addressed the media following the demoralized let's start that all over again. When Maurice addressed the media following the demoralizing loss to Winnipeg, he had no answers for the team's mediocre play. At the end of the day, they were faster and stronger than we were, and we weren't able to do anything with that, he said monotonously. We shouldn't be an overly confident group, so you have to make up for that. He then decided it was a good time for a cop-out. Part of it is that we've played more games than anyone in the NHL. And wouldn't you know it, that's very similar to what he said when Colby Guy asked him about the inconsistency. I continue reading. Excuses, excuses. This team has been bad all year, long before their schedule became tiring. Maurice's deficiencies have become transparent. Veterans seem to get a free pass with him, as Thomas Kaberle and Alexei Ponikarovsky continue to log big minutes despite their blatant inadequacies, while younger players take a back seat. His constant line juggling has given the Canes very little chance to develop chemistry with one another. Maurice actually made the right call in moving the struggling Eric Stahl to right wing, only to push him back to center several games later despite the captain's improved play. The Skins and Fins line of Jeff Skinner, Jussi Jokinen, and Tuomo Ruutu was far and away the most productive line Carolina had this year, but they've been broken up. Neither Jokinen nor Ruutu has had a goal since their coach decided to split apart the one good thing he had up front. One of the biggest and most consistent criticisms of the Hurricanes this season has been their lack of emotion on the ice. They need a passionate, fiery coach who they can emulate. Maurice isn't that guy. Now, as if that wasn't scary enough, in a reply to this tweet, Mixel Bobo, I'm going to click on this. Okay. He says, from a Jets fan the other day on Panthers subreddit, every point they hit feels accurate to our team. So, this is a little bit longer. Let's go. This is what a Winnipeg Jets fan has to say. Jets fan here. Yeah, he's a master manipulator that stayed head coach for about 3 seasons longer than he should have. Don't let him trick the fan base into thinking he's teaching playoff hockey. He's the current record holder for the most losses by an NHL coach in the history of the NHL, and he's never even won a Stanley Cup. He knows nothing of playoff hockey. Jets went to the Western Finals because We had an insanely good roster, but got stomped by Vegas because they were the only team that showed any forecheck and has genuinely good neutral zone speed and insanely good transition. He never could adjust, and then we got stomped. He doesn't know how to play playoff hockey. His entire strategy runs through passive defensive play in the defensive zone, and he allows teams to gain entry with no effort. It's a purposeful move. He wants teams to make mistakes, and the goal is to counterattack effectively and score on the rush after the other team has made a mistake. A terrible way to play if your opponents are on their game that night. That kind of explains why we've looked good against some bad teams and really bad against some good teams. This year's Jets moved to an aggressive forecheck, and well, it's worked, LOL. That's not the only change, but that and the pass support is insane. Everyone's always within 20 feet of each other. It makes breakout passes extremely simple, something Maurice's teams struggle with. Another reason he should have zero credibility to knowing playoff hockey is because he will run his veterans 20 to 25 minutes a night and the fourth line less than 5 minutes. By the end of the season, your top six will be exhausted to even play in the playoffs. Every playoff series the Jets have lost was caused the Jets were a step behind. He's infuriating, and I'm sorry you have to have him. For some reason, he wins insane respect and trust from the media, management, and ownership. He's able to somehow weirdly manipulate everyone around him to think he's a good coach. Seeing what he's done to your team and seeing how the Jets are doing is the clearest proof of that. The Jets roster only got worse with the subtraction of Stastny and Coop. All right. So, let me get back to where I am here. All right. So, consider that an early Christmas present. All right, so there's a lot there. There's a lot there. First things first is that makes sense where and I'd like to we're going to have to work on getting Randy on because I'm going to want his opinion on some of this. I have noticed, other than the first couple of games, we are allowing teams to just kind of enter the zone. And I basically agree with everything the article said and everything that the commenter on Reddit said. And it dovetails into what I said yesterday, where I don't think Maurice is playing around. I don't think he's being intellectually dishonest when he looks puzzled at Colby Guy and says, I don't agree with that. I don't think we've been inconsistent. I think this guy thinks he's going to take this Panther team and win a cup, winning games 3-2 and 2-1. And I think that, look, I'm gonna completely, you guys know how it went for me. I wasn't sure. Then I heard him speak at the news conference, and I got suckered in. He sounds good. He's a well-spoken, intellectual coach. What he was saying sounded good. Now, the trade did change things, and I think he's changed more than he would have with the system had we not had that trade. But what I said at the end of yesterday's video is this is what we got. And, I don't think Zito's going to be making any moves. We're not going to be having any coaching changes this year. And I don't think we're going to have any changes next year because I believe, like I said at the end of yesterday's video, Zito is going to be convinced, or Maurice is going to convince Zito, that the reason why we're not good this year is cap hell. Zito's going to have evidence that he can go out and fix it, right? He's going to go out and get guys. And we're going to have to go through not only this year, but a full disappointing season next year before anything happens to Coach Paul Maurice. And last thing I'll say is Montreal won again. So now they're actually tied with us with a game in hand. And if I look over here real quick at the standings, Bruins, 45 points. Maple Leafs with 42. The Lightning with 35. The Red Wings with 32. The Canadiens with 30, but only 28 games played. Then you have the Panthers with 30 points with 29 games played. We're barely ahead of the last placed Senators and Sabres, who have 26 points and actually have a game in hand over us. So we're 1 week away from last place. We're one bad week away from last place. Now, I expect 2 points tonight. Don't know who's in goal. Nobody was able to figure that out yet, so we probably know who's in net closer to the game. All right, short and sweet. I just wanted, when I got tagged to both of those things this morning, I said people need to see this. And since that's only on Twitter, I figured most of you, that watch this channel, not many of you do Twitter. So it's not good news. And I trust it because it looks and sounds exactly like what we're experiencing completely. I don't know, I'm a fan, you're a fan, we're fans, but I don't, it's okay if we get tricked by a guy. But Bill Zito should have known better. Bill Zito should have known better than this. But we're stuck. We're stuck for now, guys. Appreciate the support. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're really, really, really close to 6,000 now. So appreciate it, and I'll see you guys tonight. The stream starts at 6:30.